I'm Sophia. I'm 26 years old, and I just graduated with an MBA from Stanford. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Years of sleepless nights, stress, and non-stop effort led to that moment. I thought graduation day would finally be the day my parents felt proud of me. I was wrong. At my graduation dinner, my friends, professors, and coworkers gathered around the table. People praised my achievements and congratulated my parents. I waited, hoping to hear even one kind word from them. But instead, they turned the conversation to my younger sister, Avery. As always. They talked about how proud they were of her for being in medical school. How she was saving lives. How she was the true pride of the family. About me, they said nothing. When someone asked if they must be proud of my success, my parents only laughed and brushed it off, saying office work could never compare to being a doctor. That night, something inside me finally broke. Growing up, I lived in a house where comparisons were constant. I loved math and economics in school. I worked hard, earned awards, and joined academic teams. But whenever I brought home a certificate, my mother would simply say, "That's nice," then remind me it wasn't as meaningful as becoming a doctor. Avery, on the other hand, was celebrated for everything. A good grade meant a family dinner. Saying she wanted to be a doctor became a story my parents proudly told everyone. Even our birthdays showed the difference. One year, we shared a party. The cake said, "Happy birthday, Avery," in big letters. My name was squeezed into a corner so small people joked they didn't notice it. I learned early that I came second. When I went to college, I chose economics because I loved it, but also because I needed to be independent fast. I worked non-stop, coffee shops, tutoring, office jobs. I paid my own bills and sent money home. I helped cover family expenses and paid for Avery's tuition so she could focus on medical school. I never blamed her. I thought that was my role as the older sister. But I still hoped my parents would notice. When I got my first paycheck, I was proud. I brought it home, hoping they'd say something kind. My father just nodded and told me to send more money to Avery for her textbooks. In that moment, I realized I wasn't seen as a daughter, I was seen as support. Still, I believed success would change everything. That belief pushed me to pursue my MBA. I thought if I achieved something big enough, my parents would finally see me. So I walked into my graduation dinner full of hope and fear. Throughout the night, people praised my hard work. My professor called me talented. My manager spoke about my dedication and future promotion. The room applauded. Every time, I turned to my parents, waiting for pride to appear on their faces. It never did. Instead, my mother whispered that being a doctor was more respectable than making money. My father joked that my success was nothing compared to Avery saving lives. Each word felt like a slap. Then someone at the table asked my parents directly if they were proud of me. My mother shrugged and said, "It's fine, I guess." That was it. Years of silence, sacrifice, and pain exploded in that moment. I stood up, my hands shaking, and told the truth. I talked about working through college, paying bills, supporting the family, covering Avery's tuition, sacrificing my own comfort so everyone else could stand strong. Then I asked one question. If I'm so worthless, who has been holding this family together all these years? The room went silent. My parents didn't thank me. They didn't apologize. Instead, embarrassed and angry, my father said words I will never forget. "We wish we had never given birth to such a disrespectful daughter." Something inside me went quiet. I realized then that nothing I did would ever be enough. I calmly told them that if that was how they felt, they could live as if I never existed. Then I picked up my bag and walked out. Outside, I cried. But beneath the pain, I felt free. Later that night, my phone filled with messages from coworkers and friends. They told me I was brave. That I said what many never could. My parents kept calling, angry that I embarrassed them. For the first time, I didn't apologize. I told them the truth doesn't become wrong just because it's uncomfortable. And that night, I chose myself. Without me, would this family have survived all those years of money problems? Without me, would Avery have finished medical school so easily, the dream you proudly talk about to everyone? If I was nothing but a burden, then why was I always the first person you called when you needed money? My words were met with silence. For a few seconds, all I could hear was heavy breathing on the other end of the line. Then my mother spoke, her voice cold and sharp. Don't forget, you still carry the Tran name. No matter where you go, you're still our daughter. I closed my eyes, years of pain pressing down on my chest. When I spoke again, my voice was calm. Fine. From now on, live as if I never existed. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but for the first time in my life, my chest felt strangely light. The next morning, sunlight filled my quiet room. My phone buzzed non-stop, messages filled with blame, relatives telling me to apologize, to keep the peace. But I knew the truth. Once you've been told you should never have been born, there's nothing left to fix. I opened my laptop and logged into my bank account. One by one, I stopped every automatic transfer. I canceled the utility bills I had been paying. I ended the allowance I sent to Avery every month. My fingers trembled as I hit confirm, but a stronger voice inside me said, enough. That afternoon, I walked along the San Francisco Bay. The cold wind brushed my face, carrying the smell of the sea. I thought about the sleepless nights, the cruel words, the tears I swallowed just to keep smiling. I once believed all of it would lead to recognition. Now I understood it never would, and I no longer needed it. My worth was never in my parents' eyes. It was in what I built myself. That night, I opened my notebook and wrote one sentence. From today on, Sophia lives for herself. The days that followed felt empty at first. So I threw myself into work. My company was expanding, and I volunteered for everything, late nights, extra projects, tough clients. For the first time, my energy wasn't split between duty and dreams. It was all mine. Within months, my efforts paid off. I was trusted with a multi-million-dollar project, and it succeeded beyond expectations. My name spread through the industry, not as someone's daughter or sister, but as a capable, successful manager. I rewarded myself by buying a small apartment in downtown San Francisco. It wasn't huge, but it was mine. Every corner reflected my choices. When I held the keys and stepped inside for the first time, I cried, not from sadness, but from freedom. To celebrate, I invited friends, colleagues, and my old advisor, the people who believed in me when my parents didn't. We laughed, ate pizza on the floor, and talked about the future. No comparisons. No insults. Just warmth and respect. That night, standing by the window, I whispered, I am worthy. I don't need permission to exist. Life wasn't perfect after that. Some nights, old wounds still hurt. But I remembered the laughter in my apartment, the people who chose me. That was the family I deserved. Months later, when peace had finally become normal, my parents showed up at my door. They walked in as if the place belonged to them. My mother sighed dramatically. The family is struggling. Avery was suspended. She needs money to continue her program. I sat down and crossed my arms. I remembered their words at my graduation dinner, how they said they wished I had never been born. You're here for money, I said calmly. My father avoided my eyes. You're our daughter. It's your duty. Avery is the future of this family. I looked at them and finally spoke the truth I had carried for years. I fulfilled my duty for over 10 years. I paid bills, tuition, medical costs. I sacrificed my own life for this family. And how did you repay me? By humiliating me and saying I wasn't worthy. You even wished I had never existed. I paused, steady and unafraid. And now you're here because the money stopped. From that moment on, I knew something inside me had ended. I no longer felt like I belonged to that family. My mother's face suddenly went pale, as if all the blood had rushed out of it. She snapped back instantly, her voice shaking with anger and disbelief. "How can you even say something like that?" she cried. "Blood is blood. No matter how much we argue, you will always be our daughter. You owe us your life. We gave birth to you." I smiled faintly, not out of happiness, but out of a deep, familiar sadness that had lived in me for years. This time, though, that pain was mixed with strength. A strength I had never allowed myself to feel before. "No," I said calmly. "I don't owe you anything. If anything, you owe me." The words felt heavy, but once they left my mouth, they felt true. I spoke about the years I had carried the weight of this family on my shoulders. The nights I worked until my body ached just so I could send money home. The dreams I put aside. The youth I gave away to keep everything from falling apart. And after all of that, I was still insulted, blamed, and treated like nothing more than a source of money. My father slammed his hand hard against the table. His voice was rough and sharp. "You're ungrateful," he said. "If outsiders heard you speak like this, they would laugh at our family." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't flinch. I simply looked at him and answered, "They already heard." And they didn't laugh at me. They laughed at the way you treated your own daughter. Then I stood up. My legs felt steady for the first time in my life. I walked to the door and opened it wide, pointing outside. "If you came here to apologize," I said, "I would listen. But if you only came to demand money, then I'm sorry. That ended the night you disowned me." The room felt heavy, like the air itself had turned to stone. My mother grabbed my father's sleeve, trying to pull him away. Before leaving, she turned back and looked at me with cold, bitter eyes. "You'll regret this," she said. "One day you'll realize you need your family." I smiled softly, my voice calm and steady. "I already have a family. It just isn't you." The door closed behind them. Silence filled the room. I stood there breathing deeply, my heart pounding, but inside I felt lighter than I ever had before. That was the second time I had confronted my parents, and the first time I had looked them in the eye without fear. I had finally said everything I had buried for years. I had broken the invisible chains that had kept me small and silent for so long. In that moment, I understood something important. Sometimes freedom only comes when we find the courage to face the people we once loved the most, even when they are also the ones who hurt us the deepest. After that night, I knew I never wanted another argument with them again. There was no point. No shouting. No explaining. No proving myself. In their eyes, I would never be enough. But in the eyes of the world, I could choose my own value. One quiet evening in my new apartment, sitting alone in front of my laptop, I opened LinkedIn and began to write. I didn't mention names. I didn't accuse anyone directly. I simply shared the story of a daughter who was constantly compared, put down, and reduced to nothing more than her family's wallet. I wrote about how she refused to give up, how she worked endlessly, and how she built success with her own hands. I ended the post with one simple line. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop seeking approval from people who will never see your worth. Write your own story instead. When I clicked publish, I didn't expect anything to happen. I only wanted to let the words out, to leave myself a reminder that I would never return to my old life again. But overnight, everything changed. The post spread faster than I could imagine. Thousands of likes. Hundreds of shares. Endless comments. The next morning, my phone was filled with messages from strangers. Some were office workers whose families mocked their careers. Some were artists told they would never succeed. Others were sons and daughters who had never once heard the words, "We're proud of you." They told me they saw themselves in my story. Many said they cried when they read that final line. I read every message with tears streaming down my face. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel alone. The impact went far beyond me. Leaders in my industry reshared the post, calling it a powerful message about strength and leadership. My company noticed too. Instead of criticizing me, they supported me. The head of HR called me into her office and told me she was impressed by how I turned pain into inspiration. A few weeks later, I was invited to speak at a major leadership conference in San Francisco. Standing on that stage, facing hundreds of people, I told my story calmly and honestly. When I finished, the room erupted in applause. That was the moment I realized I no longer needed my parents' approval. I had found recognition within myself and among people who truly understood. Eventually, word reached my parents. I heard through relatives that they were furious and afraid that others might connect the story to them. But they stayed silent. They knew that speaking out would only expose the truth. I imagined them sitting at home, watching my success unfold online, unable to do anything but swallow their anger. That was my quiet victory. I didn't need to insult them. I didn't need revenge fueled by anger. I simply lived well, succeeded, and let the truth speak for itself. That night, after returning from the conference, I took off my heels, poured a glass of red wine, and sat by the window watching the city lights glow. I thought about the cruel words my parents once threw at me. Then I thought about the thousands of strangers who thanked me for speaking out. I smiled. I finally understood that revenge doesn't always have to be loud. Sometimes silence, persistence, and success are the strongest answers of all. As time passed, my career soared. The projects I led brought in massive results. I was soon recognized as one of the most promising young leaders in the industry. Publications began mentioning my name, describing me as resilient, decisive, and forward-thinking. And for the first time in my life, I truly believed it. I still remember the day I walked into that quiet conference room to sign the first multi-million-dollar contract of my life. The air felt heavy, but my heart was calm. My hands were steady as I picked up the pen. I noticed that they were no longer shaking the way they used to whenever I stood in front of my parents, trying to explain myself or prove my worth. That nervous girl was gone. In her place stood someone confident, someone who knew exactly why she was there. When the signing was finished, something unexpected happened. The entire project team stood up and began to clap. The sound filled the room, warm and sincere. The director stepped forward and shook my hand firmly. He looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Sophia, you didn't just help this company grow. You changed how people in this field think and work." In that moment, everything became clear to me. The approval and recognition I had begged for my entire life, from my parents, from my family, I had already found it somewhere else. And it felt real. It felt earned. As my career changed, my life changed with it. I moved out of my small, cramped apartment and bought a larger home with a wide view of the bay. Every morning, sunlight poured through the glass windows, filling the rooms with warmth. I no longer felt guilty about enjoying nice things. Every dollar I spent came from my own effort, from long nights and hard choices. I had earned it. Work took me to cities I once only read about in books. I sat in rooms with people I used to admire from a distance. They listened when I spoke. They respected my ideas. They invited me to work with them. Every handshake, every compliment left a deep mark on my memory. I often thought to myself how strange life was. Sophia, the daughter who was once ignored, compared, and dismissed, was now standing on a global stage. While my life was moving forward, my parents' life was falling apart. After I stopped sending them monthly money, their finances slowly collapsed. I heard through relatives that the bank had sent warnings about their house. Bills piled up. Debts grew heavier each month. Avery struggled the most. She had been protected and spoiled her whole life. She never learned how to stand on her own. When the hospital where she worked reduced staff, her future became uncertain. She had no savings, no backup plan, and no idea how to survive without help. I didn't feel happy about their suffering. But I didn't feel sorry either. What they were facing now was simply the result of choices they once made proudly, without regret. Then the messages began. At first, the emails were cold and angry. How can you abandon your family? Do you really have no conscience? Later, when things became worse, the tone changed. Avery desperately needs you. Our family is falling apart. If you still have any love left, please help us. I read every message. I answered none. I could never forget my graduation dinner. I remembered sitting there, hopeful, proud of everything I had achieved, only to hear my parents say, "We wish we had never had a daughter like you." Those words cut deeper than anything else in my life. In that moment, every sense of duty I had carried disappeared. I was finally free from trying to be the perfect daughter for people who never valued me. When I stayed silent, they tried another way. Relatives began calling me. One aunt scolded me, saying, "No matter what, they're still your parents. You can't just turn your back on them." I answered calmly, "I turned my back a long time ago. That was their decision, not mine." Then I ended the call. I knew that if I gave in even once, everything would return to how it used to be. I would be drained again, emotionally, mentally, financially. I refused to let that happen. My silence wasn't cruelty. It was a clear statement. It said I was no longer the girl who existed only to give and endure. It said I had chosen a life where I was respected. It said I was finally free. That silence was the hardest punishment my parents faced. They couldn't force me back. They had lost not only their financial support, but also their chance to fix what they had broken. One quiet night, I stood by my window, watching the city lights glow below. I knew they were struggling somewhere far away, but I felt no guilt. I finally understood something important: the strongest form of revenge isn't anger or revenge plans. It's silence. It's moving forward and letting others face the results of their actions while you live your life fully. For the first time in years, I felt truly at peace. I promised myself that when everything settled, I would celebrate, not to show off, not to prove anything, but to honor the life I had chosen. So one Saturday evening, I opened my home to the people who had stood beside me. The apartment was filled with warm light. The table was simple but elegant, covered with food and wine my friends had brought. The balcony doors were open, and the bay breeze carried the scent of salt water inside. The guest list was small, but meaningful. These were the people who had seen me struggle. The ones who stayed when I was exhausted. Colleagues who worked late nights with me. Friends from school who encouraged me when I wanted to give up. My advisor, who once told me I had leadership in me before I believed it myself. They hugged me, laughed with me, and celebrated with genuine joy. One colleague raised his glass and said, "Sophia, I've seen the pressure you faced. Seeing you here now, strong and happy, you deserve every bit of this." Applause filled the room. Not one person compared me to anyone else. No one looked down on me. There was only respect, warmth, and real care. In that moment, the painful memory of my graduation dinner flashed through my mind and disappeared. I finally understood something important. I may have lost one family, but I had found another. A family built on choice, not blood. Later, I stood up with my glass in hand and spoke. Some of us are not born into families that protect or value us. I was once insulted, compared, and told I should never have existed. But tonight, I know this: family is not about blood. Family is about the people who choose you, support you, and love you without conditions. The room filled with applause. Someone hugged me and whispered, "You deserve this." After everyone left, I sat alone by the window, looking at the city. I thought about my past, the pain, the loneliness, the nights I cried alone. I realized that every hardship had led me here. I was no longer just surviving. I was living. If you hear my story and feel pain from your own family, remember this: your value is not decided by them. Sometimes walking away from toxic relationships is the only way to grow. And when you do, you may find a new family, one built on love, respect, and choice. Believe in yourself. Believe that you deserve better. And one day, you will be surrounded by people who choose you, not because they have to, but because they truly want to.
needed, sire.
Gold needed. Gold needed.
نحن في خدمتك.
إلى قلب الصحراء نسير.
We stand ready. Gold needed.
Can't place that there, my lord.
My lord! For valor! This armor's heavy.
ما هي أوامرك؟
We stand ready. Not enough gold, my lord. Commander, sire. This armor's heavy.
نحن صفوة النخبة.
This armor's heavy.
Saving.
Yes? Moving off! That's quite a run!
We stand ready.
Weapons needed, sire.
انتظر ونحن نطيع.
Gold needed.
انتظر ونحن. سنمتثل للأوامر.
We are under attack.
Archers, ready! We are on our way! Leaving now! Moving off!
Feel the power.
I live to serve you.
نشد الرحال إلى المعركة.
Your command?
My bow is yours.
stand ready. This armor's heavy. My lord, this armor's heavy. This armor's heavy.
أنت تأمر ونحن نطيع.
حركوا الجمال.
أنت تأمر ونحن نطيع.
Gold needed. We stand ready.
أنت تأمر ونحن.
Instructions.
لن تشتكي جمالنا.
Commander, sire. Run them. This is too run them through. Eat steel.
We await orders. Leaving now. Yes. Moving off.
A message from Saladin.
The situation looks grave indeed. Maybe a change of plan is needed.
A message from Saladin.
As I look at it, I take little comfort. I must not alienate people.
Your command? We salute you, swordsman! Attack!
You are indeed a thorn in my side.
To glory! Forward! There is no way! To glory! Forward! For valor! Run them through!
My bow is yours.
Message from Saladin.
You are mighty in battle, but unjust as well. I put myself at your mercy.
A message from the Nomad.
You have my admiration. You can fight. That much is clear.
This armor's heavy. A message from Emperor Frederick.
Your army does well. We have brought another enemy to their knees.
إلى قلب الصحراء نسير.
نحن في خدمتك.
نشد الرحال إلى المعركة.
Your command? To glory! Forward!
أنت تأمر ونحن نطيع.
The granary is full, my lord. Recruits needed, sire.
Instructions.
The armory is full, my lord.
لن تشتكي جمالنا.
The armory is full, my lord. We are under attack.
We stand ready. Gold needed. We salute you. This is too easy.
The granary is full, my lord.
ما هي أوامرك؟ حركوا الجمال. إلى قلب الصحراء نسير.
We await orders. Yes? We are on our way.
نحن صفوة النخبة. نشد الرحال إلى المعركة.
We stand ready.
سنمتثل الأوامر. حركوا الجمال. إلى قلب الصحراء نسير.
A message from the snake.
Oh, I think I might just, The granary is full, my lord.
My lord. Run them through. Come on, sire.
You to challenge me and my right to rule these lands.
Eat steel. This is too easy. To glory. I live to serve you. Swordsman! Run them through!
A message from the snake.
Oh, spare me. I wanted only to be your ally. Really, I did.
Archers, ready.
A message from the nomad.
You have my admiration. You can fight. That much is clear.
A message from Emperor Frederick.
Your army does well. We have brought another enemy to their knees.
is full, my lord. The granary is full, my lord.
انتظرنا ونحن نطيع.
Recruits needed, sire.
Your command?
Our treasury is emptying.
We stand ready.
Recruits needed, sire. My bow is yours.
We salute you. For valor!
انتظرنا ونحن نطيع. لن تشتكي جمالنا. رهن إشارته.
To glory! We stand ready. This armor's heavy.
نحن في خدمتك. لن تشتكي جمالنا. ما هي أوامرك؟
نشد الرحال إلى المعركة.
Milord? Leaving now!
Feel the power.
نحن صفوة النخبة. سنمتثل للأوامر. لن تشتكي جمالنا.
My lord! This armor's heavy.
Instructions! That's quite a run! That's quite a run! We are under attack!
حركوا الجمال.
The armory is full, my lord.
sire. This armor's heavy.
رهن إشارتك.
The armory is full, my lord. We are under attack.
I live to serve you. Eat steel! This is too easy.
نحن في خدمتك.
إلى قلب الصحراء نسير.
The armory is full, my lord.
نشد الرحال إلى المعركة. حركوا الجمال. إلى قلب الصحراء نسير. نشد الرحال إلى المعركة.
We are under attack.
Your command? Forward!
ما هي أوامرك؟
The armory is full, my lord.
حركوا الجمال.
Feel the power.
A message from the wolf.
Maybe I have underestimated.
إلى قلب الصحراء نسير. نشد الرحال إلى المعركة.
Overwrite this saved game.
We salute you. For valor!
سنمتثل.
We stand ready. Sword out them! Attack!
حركوا الجمال.
A message from the wolf.
You are weak and not fit to command an army. Eat steel!
Message from the wolf.
You fight better than your father. I'll give you that. This is too
Message from the wolf.
You are weak and not fit to command an army. This is too easy. Swordsman, attack! We salute you. We stand ready.
Message from the wolf. The armory is full, my lord.
We salute you. Way. We stand ready.
Weapons needed, sire.
أنتطق ونحن نطيع.
Gold stocks are too low, sire. We stand ready.
Feel the power.
This armor's heavy. This armor's heavy.
Recruits needed, sire. Recruits needed, sire. We await orders!
لن تشتكي جمالنا. أنتطق ونحن.
Recruits needed, sire. Recruits needed, sire. Recruits needed,
Our
sire.
granary stocks are growing, sire.
Recruits needed, sire.
Our granary stocks are growing, sire.
Recruits needed, sire.
Our food stocks are dwindling, my liege.
أنتطق ونحن نطيع.
Recruits needed, sire.
سنمتثل للأوامر.
Recruits needed, sire. Recruits needed, sire.
We stand ready.
Recruits needed, sire.
My lord, This armor's heavy.
Recruits needed, sire.
رهن إشارتك. لن تشتكي جمالنا.
We are under attack.
Commander, sire. I live to serve you. Forward! Run them through!
Feel the power.
Your command? We salute you. Eat steel. We stand ready. For valor! This is too easy.
نحن في خدمتك. أوامرك تربكنا.
We are under attack.
ما هي أوامرك؟
A message from the Sultan.
The pond is dying in the Sultan's oasis.
حركوا الجمال. إلى قلب الصحراء نسير. نشد الرحال إلى المعركة. أوامرك تربكنا. نحن صفوة النصر. حركوا الجمال. إلى قلب الصحراء نسير. سننتهي بالأوامر. الحال إلى المعركة.
It's a rout.
My lord! This armor's heavy.
Message from the Sultan.
As all must sleep the sleep of the ancients, so must the poor Sultan.
A message from the Nomad.
You have my admiration. You can fight. That much is clear.
To glory!
A message from Emperor Frederick.
Your army does well. We have brought another enemy to their knees.
This armor's heavy. This armor's heavy.
أنت تأمر ونحن نطيع. حركوا الجمال. رهن إشارتك. إلى قلب الصحراء نسير. A message from the wolf.
Maybe I have destiny. We salute you. This armor's heavy. This armor's heavy.
A message from the wolf.
Better than you.
A message from the wolf.
You are weak. Not fit to command an army. We stand ready.
Message from the wolf.
Kill me now. I will not kneel before. My lord! To glory!
A message from the Nomad.
You have my admiration. You can fight. That much is clear.
This armor's heavy. This armor's heavy. This armor's heavy.
A message from Emperor Frederick.
Your army does well. We have brought another enemy to their knees.
Run them through!
ما هي أوامرك؟ لن تشتكي جمالنا. أنت تأمر ونحن.
Recruits needed, sire. Can't place that there, my lord.
أنت تأمر ونحن.
Recruits needed, sire. Recruits needed, sire.
نحن صفوة النخبة. لن تشتكي جمالنا. لن تشتكي جمالنا. أنت تأمر
Recruits needed, sire. Recruits needed, sire.
أنتظر
Recruits
ونحن
needed, sire. Yes?
لن تشتكي جمالنا.
I live to serve you. Eat steel.
سنمتثل للأوامر. نشد الرحال إلى المعركة. حركوا الجمال.
We are under attack.
أطلقوا بلا تردد.
Your command? We salute you.
أنتظر ونحن.
Recruits needed, sire.
أنتظر
Recruits
ونحن.
needed, sire.
أنتظر
Recruits
ونحن.
needed, sire.
أنتظر ونحن نضيع.
Feel the power.
رهن إشارتك. لن تشتكي جمالنا. نحن في خدمتك. إلى قلب الصحراء نسير. نشد الرحال إلى المعركة. حركوا الجمال. ما هي أوامرك؟ إلى قلب الصحراء نسير. نشد الرحال إلى المعركة. نحن صفوة النساء.
This is too easy. Swordsman, attack! We stand ready. Forward! Run them through!
سننكسر. A message from the pig.
My lord! For valor! To glory! Forward! For valor! To glory! Forward!
A message from the pig.